Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a Q&A. It's been a while. I think the last time I did a Q&A was June of last year. And a few people were requesting that I do an updated one. So I asked you over on Instagram if you have any questions for me. So the first question is, as a hairdresser, what do you think about the whole Tifa Curl situation? Ooh. So if you guys are unfamiliar, Tifa Curl is a line that has products all targeted for curly haired girls. They even have like their own hair cutting technique. The first salon actually that I assisted at when I was still in school used Tifa Curl. So I have a little bit of experience using it, but I've never used it on myself. But they have been having issues lately, and I guess a lot of people have been reporting that they've been experiencing hair loss. There's tons of videos of people talking about it on YouTube if you want to do a search and find out more for yourself. I don't know. I don't know if they changed their formula. I, to be honest, haven't been keeping up with it. So I don't know if the company has made a statement or anything. It's really scary though. And I don't know what is in the products that could be making that happen to people. Okay, this question just says, working with difficult coworkers. So I guess like, how do I deal with that, or if I've experienced that? Luckily with the salon where I work now, there's just 3 of us and we get along so amazingly. I feel very, very fortunate. We're like a little family. But of course I've had other jobs in the past and I've definitely experienced working with difficult people. And my best advice is to just try to ignore them and not let them affect you, and always keep it professional. Like even if they are trying to start drama with you, or they're making rude comments or just doing things to get under your skin, remember that you're at work and that you need to keep it 100% professional. And just try to be the bigger person and don't give in to their bullshit. And if it's really that toxic of an environment, then maybe look for a job somewhere else. Do you have any hope of possibly opening up your own shop one day? I don't know. I think about it sometimes and I'm always back and forth. There will be weeks where I'm like, yes, I definitely would love to own my own business one day. But then other weeks where I'm like, oh my God, no, like that's so much pressure. But if I ever do, it wouldn't be anytime soon. What's the hardest part of your job? Oh my God, hands down, dealing with people. And I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. Sometimes you do have clients that are just so draining and soul sucking and difficult to deal with, and you just, but even when you have really nice clients, at least for me, I just am very introverted, and sometimes I have days where I'm just like feeling really depressed or like a little bit anxious or whatever, and like I just don't want to have to interact with people and like put on this act and be all like talkative and friendly and stuff. And not only that, but just knowing how to communicate with people and being able to understand people, because when you're dealing with the public, you come across so many different people. And I think a lot of people, when they want to go and become a hairstylist, they're just thinking like, oh, I need to just learn how to do hair. And that's such a small part of it. Really being able to interact with the public and be a people pleaser is the biggest part of it, and definitely the most difficult part for sure. Best way to stop bleeders. I use Framar foils and brushes and Schwarzkopf bleach. I always have a hard time saying Schwarzkopf. Oh, and I said it perfectly that time. Okay. What she means by bleeders, for those of you who aren't hairstylists and are like, what the hell is that? Whenever you're doing highlights or you're, putting lightener in a foil, the lightener will expand as it starts processing, and so you'll have product that will seep out of the foil, and so it'll like bleed everywhere, and then it'll just be a whole hot mess. So the easiest way to do that is to use less product. And also when you're going to mix it to a thinner consistency. The thicker your consistency is, the more it's gonna swell. At least that's been my experience. And also doing thinner pieces. If you have a really thick piece of hair in that foil, you're gonna need to apply more product in order for it to be fully saturated. And the more product you have in there, the higher the chances are that it's gonna bleed. So really thin pieces, not applying too much product. Also, if you are going all the way up to the scalp, I like to start like 2 inches below that, and then I kind of feather up, because when you dip your brush in your product and then you go to apply it to the hair, wherever you start applying, that's where you're gonna be putting the most amount of product. And you don't want the most amount of product right at the top, because of course the scalp is giving off heat, so the product is gonna wanna expand the most right at the top of the foil. Try that out and that should help you. What are your tips for my first time getting a Brazilian wax? Oh boy. I've been getting Brazilian waxes now consistently for like 2 years almost. Best decision ever. I will never go back to shaving, but the first time you go, it is super painful. I'm not even gonna try to sugarcoat it. It's gonna hurt like a bitch. So maybe take like an Advil or something before you go. Also make sure like a week before your appointment, you exfoliate really, really well and that you're like really moisturizing, maybe applying like a serum or something. The more exfoliated your skin is and like the softer it is, the more easily the hair is gonna come out, which means the less pain it's gonna cause you. And the more times you get it done, it hurts less and less. After probably like your third time, it's gonna be fine. And like now I feel like a pro. I can talk through my whole appointment. Like it's nothing to me now. Favorite Starbucks drink? This kind of depends, it varies. I have a few like go-to ones and then just depending on my mood, you know, like I'll switch it up. But what I really love to get is 4 shots of espresso over ice with half and half. That's if I really need a good pick-me-up. And then otherwise I'll just get an iced coffee and I'll just ask for like 1 or 2 pumps and I'll do either the cinnamon dulce syrup or vanilla. And then I always like to add half and half to my coffees. I'm pretty simple and basic when it comes to my coffee. I'm not into like the frappuccinos, like the pink drinks and all that stuff. Nah. That's too sweet for me. Do you get to travel with your job at all? I do travel sometimes when I'm going to classes. So last year, my boss and I went to Connecticut for a long weekend and we took 2 classes up there, but I think that's about as far as I've traveled. All the other classes that I've taken were a little bit more local. Have you thought of moving to a different state? I've always thought about moving somewhere different, mainly because of the weather. I hate the winter so much and I would love to live somewhere that's just warm year round, but I don't know. Realistically, I feel like right now I'm really happy at my current salon and like my family and all my friends are here. So, I mean, maybe like if the opportunity ever came around, I would, but I don't have like any serious plans to anytime in the near future. Any advice for someone who doesn't know what to do for a career as a senior in high school? I feel like a lot of people coming out of high school, maybe not so much anymore, but at least when I was in high school, like I was heavily pressured to go to college. And I just feel like if you don't know for sure what you want to do, why waste your time and all that money? God, like save yourself from student debt if you can. I would just work and save up your money and then you'll figure it out eventually. It's so common, especially nowadays, for people to not really be sure about what they want to do. So you're not alone and you will figure it out. Just think about what are things that you love doing. Do you have any hobbies that you feel you could spend hours and hours doing and you know you'd happily do it without getting paid at all? Is there something that when you're doing it, the time just flies by? And then from there, kind of figure out, okay, how could I make that into a career? Do you miss your eyelash extensions? I did miss them and I just got them put back on yesterday. It's weird though, because I had taken a break from them for like about 2 months or so, and I was so used to seeing myself without them on that now that I have them, I feel kind of weird. I'm like, oh my God. Is this too much? But I did really miss them. I miss being able to just wake up in the morning and automatically looking a little bit put together and not looking like a sick little boy. Tips on blow drying more quickly. Oh, this is a good one. Rough dry the hair a little bit first before you start sectioning it and going right in with the brush. Because if you're doing section by section on dripping wet hair, it's gonna take you forever. So get as much moisture out of the hair first and then go through section by section with your round brush and really smooth it out and finish drying it. And when I say rough dry, I don't mean like hurt your client and be like pulling and tugging on their hair, but I just literally go through like this and I point the blow dryer. I just move the hair around with my fingers a little bit and yeah, it will literally cut your blow dry time in half. Do you want to start a family soon? For the longest time I was on the fence about whether or not I wanted kids at all, and I feel like I'm at a point now where I definitely am leaning more towards no. I don't know. It's hard to tell because I could always change my mind and I still have time to figure it out. So who knows? Maybe one day, but soon? Hell no. I'm nowhere at that point yet. What were you nervous about when you first started in a salon? How did you overcome it? I think just like my awkwardness. I was just scared that I like wouldn't know what to say to people, or I would make a fool of myself or stumble over my words. And I mean, of course, there's always that fear too that you're gonna mess somebody's hair up really badly, but I think I was just more like socially scared than anything. I don't know, I just overcame it by just forcing myself. That is the best advice I can give to anyone, because let me tell you, as a child, I was terrified of everything. I was so shy, so anxious. Even now as an adult, some of those things have carried over, but I try to not show it and I try to just like suck it up and just force myself to do the things that scare me, because I know that it's not going to be as scary as I'm building it up to be in my head, and that the more I push myself to do things, the easier it's going to get. And please, that doesn't mean that I'm not awkward and that I don't say stupid things sometimes or stumble over my words and not know what to say to people sometimes, but I just kind of like roll with it and I just don't make such a big deal out of it. Plus, you start to get to a point where you have like your regular clients, and as you start to get to know them, you feel more comfortable around them, and so talking with them just gets easier. Are you still with your boyfriend and are you still doing keto? Love your videos. Oh, thank you, Erica. Yes, I'm still with him. We have actually been together for 2 years now. January made 2 years. We are going strong. I'm very, very happy. It's just so nice to be with somebody that you just click with and that just gets you, and you can just like be your full total self around, and they're never gonna like get annoyed with you or judge you or make you feel bad. Yeah. So yeah, we're still together. And no, I'm not still doing keto. I try to stay relatively low carb just because for me and how my body responds to carbohydrates, I feel like crap when I eat a lot of them. But actually strictly following the keto diet and staying in ketosis is really, really difficult. And just for me and my lifestyle, it just wasn't sustainable. Is it unhealthy to be competitive in cosmetology school? Asking for a friend. It kind of depends on what you would consider to be competitive. I don't think that having a competitive nature is a bad thing necessarily. If anything, I feel like it pushes you to keep being better. But if you're like competitive in a jealous way, then that's not a good thing. Like, these are your peers and you should be helping each other and inspiring each other. And when I was in school, depending on what we were learning, there were some things that some students just picked up really quickly and easily, and then others were taking a long time and they were struggling with it a little bit. And we would all help each other out. How has your depression been? I love you so, so much, girly. Oh, thank you. So sweet. I love you too. Thank you so much for asking. It does still creep up on me every once in a while, and it's one of those things where you just can't avoid it. Like, even if you are so happy in your life and everything is going really well, sometimes you just can't help it. And then you end up feeling like crap because you're like, I feel terrible, yet I shouldn't be feeling this way because I have nothing to be depressed or sad about. And then it makes you feel even worse, especially now in the winter time. It's been a little bit worse for me just because it's so gloomy out. 6 to 7 days a week, I've been doing like an hour-and-a-half walk, and that just makes me feel amazing and it helps a lot. It's one of those things like every day you just kind of have to take it a day at a time and just deal with it. How do you handle hate from another hairstylist? The same way I handle hate from anybody. And trust me, being on YouTube, I get a decent amount of it. I just ignore it. And depending on my mood in that particular day, sometimes it hits me worse than other days. Like, sometimes I can just let it roll off my shoulder, I don't care. And other days, it hurts a little bit. But I remind myself that if that person was really happy and successful and like feeling confident with their work and their life, they wouldn't be hating on me. I don't hate on other people because like I'm busy staying in my own lane, doing my thing. I have good things going on for myself. I'm happy. I'm feeling confident. You're not going to hate on people that are below you. You're only hating on people that are above you or people that you're feeling threatened by. So Remind yourself of that. Do you have any tips or advice for others who are just starting a YouTube channel? I think just making content that you are truly passionate about and what feels authentic to you. Like, don't try to create a channel and just try to mimic other YouTubers. Because the second that you're trying to be someone else or you're talking about a topic that you don't really care that much about, it will show and people aren't gonna be interested. I know so many people that want to start YouTube channels, but they're so scared and so they keep putting it off, and it's like, it's never gonna happen if you don't just do it. And like, yeah, your first few videos are probably gonna be terrible. You're probably gonna be awkward. Maybe the quality is not gonna be the best, but you learn and you get better with time and with experience, and you're never gonna get any experience if you don't just go for it. Can you see yourself getting bored being a hairstylist? No, not really. And that's what I love about this industry, is that even if I do get bored doing what I'm doing now, there's so many other things that I can do. I could focus more on lashes, or I could get into facials or waxing or men's cuts or nails. There's just so much all the time. And also the industry is just forever changing anyway. So even with doing hair, there's always new techniques that are coming out. So it's just, it keeps it interesting and exciting. Do you think your ex-boyfriends watch your YouTube channel? Oh boy. Probably not. At least not now anymore. I mean, it's been so long. My ex-boyfriend and I broke up over 3 years ago, and we both have moved on and are dating other people, so I would hope not. Are you and your boyfriend moving in together? No, so I would love to move in with him. I mean, and eventually that's the plan. But I've always said that I want to experience living completely on my own for at least a year. I plan on moving out of my parents' place sometime, hopefully by the summer, and it's gonna just be me living there. I'm sure he'll be there like all the time, but it's gonna just be my place. And then we'll see, like after my lease is up, if we decide to move in and get a bigger place together, maybe, I don't know. Would you ever consider doing YouTube full time? Before going to cosmetology school, I definitely thought that that's what I wanted, because you see all these other YouTubers that do this full time and you're like, that's awesome, you get to just work from home, you don't have anybody telling you what you have to do. Something that I have come to realize about myself is that I have to be forced to go out and interact with other people, because if I don't, I won't, and I will just stay home and my anxiety will get so bad to the point where I will be terrified to leave my house. So I need a job that forces me to get out and be around other people, just for the sake of my own mental health. Plus, I really love what I do, working in a salon and doing hair. If my YouTube channel gets to a point where it like really takes off and I'm making like a crazy amount of money from it, which, side note, most months I do make more money from YouTube than at the salon. But even still, then I would maybe cut back on my hours at the salon a little bit and maybe, you know, stop taking new clients, but I could never only do YouTube. Definitely not. Okay, and then the last question that I'm gonna answer, because I have been sitting here for a very long time. What are your favorite kinds of videos to create? Oh, it kind of depends on my mood, but honestly, I love vlogging. Like just bringing my camera around. Oh my God, see, I've been talking for so long that I'm losing my voice. I don't know why I like it so much, but I just love vlogging. And those are my favorite videos to edit too, for some reason. All right, well, that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you to everyone who sent me in questions. Anytime I do something like this, I'm always scared that no one is gonna send a question in, but I got a lot and I wasn't even able to go through all of them. So thank you guys so much. If you would like to participate in a future video like this one, make sure you're following me on Instagram. And yeah, I think that's it. I will see you guys in my next video. I don't know what this is, but okay, bye.